Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to Ask WrestleJuice. You guys left a bunch of great questions. Let's go and get them answered. Braden Loader kicks us off with what I used for the thumbnail and title because a lot of people were talking about this. He asks, what are your thoughts on the logic of Samoa Joe relinquishing one title just to go after another? Well, Braden, as you know, all titles are not created equal. Some matter and some don't. I mean, it's kind of like somebody having the old WCW television title and then vacating that to focus on going after the WCW world title, giving up a mid-card title, or in this case, with Samoa Joe and the Ring of Honor television title, vacating basically AEW's developmental brand Ring of Honor to go after MJF's world title. Views it. I can see it as Samoa Joe maybe viewing it as, I don't know, a distraction. You know, people are coming at him for this title that he would prefer to be the main top star of the company. I want to be face of the company. And this title right here sort of demands that my matches be paywalled. If I'm not going to be on AEW, I'm actually going to be on Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor is now just a paywalled promotion. That's not even really a promotion. So I've seen a lot of the discourse about this, how people are like, why would he give this up? Why don't you have somebody beat him for it? That's silly because it makes Samoa Joe look bad. I don't care if he gets attacked by a whole army of people and then gets pinned. The visual of him getting pinned makes him look weak. And right now, Samoa Joe is supposed to be this terrifying world beater who wants to align himself with MJF simply so that he can get a world title shot off of MJF and get that title away from him and onto his shoulder. So that's the story right now. He can't be beaten because it looks bad for him, and that's kind of silly. Does it make the title look bad? No. What makes the title look bad is Ring of Honor. Tony Khan, ever since he purchased Ring of Honor, has basically turned that promotion into a paywalled version of AEW Dark and Elevation. They took the YouTube channels or the YouTube shows away, and instead they have Ring of Honor where they're paywalling really cool stuff like Athena and pretty much nothing else. Look, there's a lot of really, really good wrestlers in Ring of Honor. However, the last time I watched a Ring of Honor show, and maybe, hell, I don't know, I could do a whole video on this, watching the Ring of Honor television show, which is like, I don't know, 20 matches. A lot of them are under 5 minutes. Some are under 2 minutes. And there's not a lot going on. Like the one episode I've watched over the past couple months was a couple weeks ago, and there was a lot of Athena, which I think is great. She should be on cable television. And then literally none of the other champions were on the show. There was no Eddie. It's because Eddie was, I think, was champion at the time. There was no Eddie. There was, oh, he's still champion. What am I talking about? There was no Eddie. There was no Joe. There was no Young Bucks and Adam Page. Nobody besides Athena was on the show. It didn't feel like its own promotion. It just seemed like it was existing to have matches on it with nothing else. There might have been like little mini stories going on along the way, but there were no like divisions where people were vying for titles and things, and no sign of like, oh, this will be blown off down the line. I don't know. I do know why Ring of Honor exists, but I don't know why Tony Khan had to buy Ring of Honor and then turn it into that. If he simply wanted the tape library, maybe he should have bought Ring of Honor and didn't relaunch it as its own brand. Although I guess maybe behind the paywall, it's making money. I don't know. I mean, I get the feeling that if he had simply, so the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, right? They don't do nearly as well as the AEW pay-per-views, which isn't surprising because it's a different brand. But if he had just branded those as AEW pay-per-views and jacked it up with a couple more headliners from AEW, wouldn't he be making a lot more money just doing that? I'm confused by the Ring of Honor thing. Like, what is it supposed to be? And seemingly it's supposed to be a paywalled version of AEW Dark and Elevation. It's not an actual promotion. Kerry Silkin recently gave an interview, very diplomatically, saying, you know, Ring of Honor, regardless of how popular or not popular at any given moment it was prior to the Tony Khan involvement, it was always us against everybody else. It was a promotion that was doing its damnedest to be an actual promotion, to be an alternative, to be something that people can actively go to and enjoy all in its own thing. And yeah, they had relationships with other promotions overseas, be it New Japan or CMLL, but like it was its own thing. And now it's not. Now it's simply, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful and call it a dumping ground, but it's a dumping ground for AEW. It's people who aren't really doing anything. They don't have room for them in AEW. They don't have creative energy to spend on guys like Ethan Page. I think I saw a Scorpio Sky match there the other day. So they just sort of have meaningless matches that I guess are just designed to get them on TV to justify their paycheck. I don't know. It's weird to me that Ring of Honor is what it is. He purchased it and he's running it on TV. And I don't know. It's nothing. So Joe vacating that title, I thought was actually a pretty interesting dramatic moment where he declared, I'm going after the main title. I'm not going to do this title anymore because it's just a distraction because I beat everybody who could possibly challenge for it. So why hold it up? And now they're going to have like a tournament or something to determine who the new Ring of Honor television champion is going to be. And hopefully that person will feature on Ring of Honor programming, because I'm sure Joe was on Ring of Honor programming, but the one episode I watched, he wasn't. So I'm fine with it. I think it's a logical decision behind the scenes and in front of the camera. I think it makes sense if somebody has a goal for something that is of more prestige than what they have. I'll give you an example. If I ever decided to pursue, I don't know, like my comic book exploits again, and something in my schedule had to give, I'd probably have to give up WrestleJuice. You know, we got a good thing going over in front of it. I don't plan on doing that because I don't think I can make any money doing comic books. In fact, I'd probably lose a bunch of money doing that. But I can understand he's got a goal in mind. He wants to be the face of AEW, wants to be the world champion. The title he had simply didn't mean as much. The title he had did not give him the championship title of world champion. It was the television guy. TV's going by the wayside anyways. It's all about the streamers these days, man. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. Chris Dalby says, outside the Bloodline and Judgment Day, what storyline in WWE do you think has the most potential to become its most compelling? Probably Bayley, Damage Control, and Kairi Sane at this point. I thought that twist, I thought her return and embrace of Io Sky at Crown Jewel was really cool. I thought that was really neat, and all sorts of intrigue now going on there. Seth Rollins and his bad back and how Drew McIntyre is going to figure into that, although I know that has more to do with Judgment Day, perhaps at this point, because Drew will probably end up aligning with them in some way, shape, or form. So I think those ones are pretty compelling. I wonder what they're going to do with Bobby and the Street Profits. I'm sort of curious about that. I mean, I know it's right now, it's not like a story. It's more just a faction that's building, but that's kind of interesting to me. I want to know where they're going to go with that. I want to know what's next for LA Knight. Want to know about that. So yeah, I don't know. There's some examples for you. But as compelling as Bloodline and Judgment Day, yeah, they could get there with Bayley. I think they can get there with Bayley. Let's see here. Accursed Hawk says, with rumors that Raw is moving to FX, is this potentially one of the biggest fumbles they've made yet, considering FX is a massive step below other potential suitors? I don't know what exactly the number of homes FX is in compared to TNT and TBS. I feel like it's probably comparable. I get TNT and TBS have a higher stat. I'm sorry, they're on USA Network. What am I talking about? This is Raw. USA Network, which I think is also on par with TNT and TBS. So I feel like it'll be fine. Like they'll promote the crap out of it. I don't know, though. I don't know that they're going to land on FX. I know that was sort of one of the things that was bandied about. CW gets NXT, USA Network gets SmackDown, and then FX gets Raw. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I wouldn't shock me to see Raw go to like Amazon Prime or something like that, like a streamer. That'd be kind of a ballsy move right there, because they're on the network television, they're on the cable television, so why not future-proof yourself and be on a streamer? And Amazon Prime seems to want to be getting into the live sports stuff, or they are in the live sports stuff, but they got the NFL deal right now. So I don't know. I don't think, look, it's not a fumble if they make a shit ton of money. That's the bottom line. WWE programming is pretty much destination program anyways. Yeah, I know their ratings dip big time when they're on FS1, but being on FX, they'll make a massive marketing push to announce that, to talk about it, to advertise it. And I imagine their ratings probably won't be affected too much. I don't know what the difference is between households with FX and households with USA. I can't believe it'd be that different, though. Demonic Teddy says, do you think this lineup for the War Games match feels worn out? We've seen too many match variations from these competitors before, but we've never seen them in a giant 2-ring structure with a cage around it. We've never seen that aspect of it. I don't think it's worn out. You're adding Seth Rollins to it as well. Maybe Drew McIntyre. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like Judgment Day versus Cody, Sammy, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso. That's been like anchoring Raw forever now. But this is War Games. I feel like it's going to be a blow off. I feel like we're not going to be getting those variations anymore. Shavon says, what needs to happen for DIY to get out of depth guys territory and up the card to main event status? Seeing their NXT story play out on main roster would be amazing, but seeing their booking so far is making me nervous for their futures. Yeah, it should be. This call-up is awesome for them because they finally get to be on main roster without Vince McMahon there to ruin it. But like their packaging is really slick. They're so buddy-buddy and happy, and it just doesn't feel like it did before because it's not before. That was like 5 years ago when that storyline was playing out. So I'm going to give it time for DIY and see how things shake out. Maybe they'll try to repeat that storyline. I don't know. Triple H has got to love DIY. I mean, he was always a big fan of theirs, obviously. I don't think they're depth guys yet. They lost to Alpha Academy, but it was because of a interference from Kaiser. So they'll probably end up losing to Imperium, but I don't know because Giovanni Vinci also loses a lot. So I'm not going to say they're depth guys just yet. But main event status, if Triple H invests in them in a story, it all depends on if Triple H wants to invest in them in terms of a story. I think he probably will. I would say give that time. I'd say give that time. I'm not too nervous about it right now. I think it's great for them. They're on main roster. Renegade Mikey says, since Impact is reverting back to TNA, hey, TNA, who do you guys think, or who do you think they should sign from the indies or from WWE that was released recently that would benefit them? Try to build up a guy like Riddick Moss. I always thought Riddick Moss had like a ton of talent. I really liked him. He's got a good look. It was just, he was always like clean slate guy, you know? So I would say Riddick Moss. If I'm Impact, I'm trying my damnedest to sign CM Punk. I don't think he's going. I think CM Punk would rather wait the rest of his life for WWE to call him up than to go to Impact, though. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, Impact, their whole roster is great. The whole roster is stacked. They do need desperately to fill their like male singles main event world title scene. Feel like that's the only area they're lacking. But yeah, and I don't know. You know, maybe rest EC3 away from TNA, but then he has a long history there. I don't know. Gustavo says, it's been said the dog food thing was what made Roman want to turn heel. If that segment never happened, would the tribal chief character still exist now? I believe so, because I think that it was the dog food thing, but I think the dog food thing was just the inciting incident from a long line of potential inciting incidents, a lot of failure on Vince's part to get Roman Reigns where he needed to go. And so Roman Reigns felt like he needed to take it into his own hands. I feel like if it wasn't the dog food thing, it would have been some other crap form of booking. And he would have demanded to be changed to the tribal chief anyways. So I think we would have been in the same spot. Guardian Ape, if you're WWE and you can only have either MJF or Will Ospreay, who would you go with? I'd go with MJF. I think he's proving on AEW to be creatively a very interesting person. I think as a performer, he is probably AEW's top guy right now. Terrific wrestler. I think the world of MJF as a performer. I think he's great. I think as a creative mind, he's also really, really sharp. I would take MJF. White Brownie says, with NXT moving to CW, what are some expectations you hope to see for the brand? I don't know what to expect. I would love for the brand to go touring. I would love to see them go to different venues, get away from that Performance Center crowd. I just don't think that they really appreciate NXT anymore because it's the same people every week going there. So I would say better crowds if they go on a tour. That's what I'd like to see. True World Order says, in your gut, what are the odds of the Devil reveal being either disappointing or underwhelming? I would say low. I think it's an MJF-centric story, and his stories are usually pretty darn good. And I think they're setting up enough pieces to make me believe that they know who it's going to be, and it's going to be good. I think it's going to be Adam Cole. I don't know what I said in that last video where I talked about the Devil, but I think it's going to be Adam Cole at this point. I don't think it's going to be Dave Finlay. I think I said it was going to be Dave Finlay. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be Adam Cole. I think they're setting up so many pieces right now that they actually understand how this is going to play out and where this is going to play out, and it's going to be Adam Cole. Let's see here. Rich Ives says, do you still see AEW being around in the next 5 years? I do. Yes. I do think that they have a major problem, though, and that problem is their boss, Tony Khan. Until he steps away, look, it's honestly, we're right back in Vince territory with AEW. Until Tony Khan hands over the creative reins day to day to somebody else, the product is going to suffer. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And maybe I can do a video expanding on that. But I do feel like at this point, AEW has a Tony Khan problem. I think that he's probably stretched himself too thin. 5 hours of television versus back in the day, 2 hours of television clearly is too much for him to handle and really give the proper attention to stories that they deserve. The Elite's on the weird Elite Island right now where they're just sort of lazily doing what they want to do. There's a couple other bright spots. The Swerve Hangman stuff is good. The stuff they're doing in the women's division is good, but they don't do enough of it. They have a Tony Khan problem. Until he steps aside, they're not going to go to that next level. That being said, they do really well off pay-per-views. They do really well off of, pay-per-views. And I'm sure they'll get a good TV deal. I'm sure they'll get a TV deal that'll make them profitable. But yeah, I think they'll be around in the next 5 years. Absolutely. Johnny Burney, in a perfect world, what should the weekly wrestling lineup on TV be for shows, channels, days, and time slots when 2024 rolls around? What a great question. On Monday night, you have Raw. Raw's 2 hours. On Tuesday, you keep NXT. Wednesday, you keep Dynamite. Thursday, you have SmackDown. That's 2 hours. Friday, nothing. And then Saturday at like 11 a.m., you have WWE pay-per-views and AEW pay-per-views. So that I can enjoy the rest of my weekend. So yeah, that would be the lineup. You don't need Collision. You don't need Collision. We don't need that. Tyler Lippingswell. Is that okay? What is your comfort match? You get home, you've had a long day. Get home from what? I work from home. You just want to throw on a match that'll get you all tingly inside. Well, Tyler, I don't have a comfort match, but I do like to pop on some old WCW Nitro from like 97, 98, or some ECW from like, I don't know, 96, 97, 98, because it gives me that nostalgia pop. So yeah, I like that. Brennan says, do you see Roman Reigns actually losing the title at WrestleMania, or do you think WWE will continue his run given the increase in numbers, both ratings-wise and merch sales? I think they've mentioned the Hulk Hogan record enough times to make me think he's going to win at WrestleMania. Cody's story will have to wait for another day. Deep Voice Dude is back, says, if Collision doesn't get its ratings up and WWE doesn't sign CM Punk, do you think Tony Khan would re-sign Punk to AEW and tell anyone on the roster they're free to leave if they have a problem with it? No, because he's already said that CM Punk threatened his life and he didn't feel safe. That, to me, was as definitive a statement as there could be when it comes to CM Punk. So no, I think that he's going to do everything he can to keep his company going without CM Punk. He's stuck now. WrestleCram says, do you think the cocaine spot that Billy Corgan truly wanted to get on pay-per-view destroyed their CW collaboration for a syndicated television show? I don't know. I'm not there. The reporting seems to indicate that might be a contributing factor to it. CW seems to want wrestling product, and NXT might have scooped him. NXT might have scooped him regardless of the cocaine spot. Remains to be seen. Time will tell. Bucket Dipper says, do you think Collision is better or worse post CM Punk outside of his stories and such? I think it's a worse show. I think not the worst show. I think it's not as good without CM Punk. I think he was sort of a binding thread, and you had guys like Hobbs seem to be like on the come up, and now he's with the Callis family doing a whole lot of nothing, doing programs with Jericho. And yeah, I think Collision's not as good without CM Punk. Mr. Sammy Sandman says, with the Ring of Honor Trios titles being hot shot recently and Joe vacating his title, do Ring of Honor belts have any worth and prestige in them anymore? And will this help get more people to watch Ring of Honor? No, I don't think it'll help get more people to watch Ring of Honor. And I think the prestige of Ring of Honor titles is just sort of based on the individual, I guess. Athena, you know, her title means something. I feel like Eddie's Ring of Honor title means something. As far as the others, I don't know. You know, if they're in a good story, then it'll mean something. AVP, what would have been harder to believe a year ago? Dominic Mysterio's North American champion, the Usos breaking up or Edge at AEW. I would say Dom being North American champion would have been hardest to believe. I always felt that putting Dom in NXT would be a good move. I didn't realize that he would have such a big turnaround of 180 as a pro wrestling character in such a small amount of time. And that to me would have been the hardest thing to believe. So yeah, that is going to do it. You guys left a lot of questions here. I might have to open up memberships and like guarantee some questions answered for members, because there's a lot of questions here. Hard to sift through them all, but that's going to do it. This has been 21 minutes. Thanks for checking us out, everybody. I appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and notify bell. We'll see you guys around.